Alright, welcome to rapid game number 5, playing against Clement 94. And let's see whether we get a Rossalimo or an open this time. Alright, we get an open Sicilian, and I'm going to play the Kalashnikov, the main line. So a lot of people play knight c3 here. I think the most critical is probably c4, but both are fine. And now I'm going to play the Daniel King line that he produced in his chessable course with bishop e7 here. So the knight comes in, and essentially this is a fight over the d5 square. So knight takes f6 here is, I think, the main line. Knight takes e7 would kind of demonstrate a bit of a lack of understanding of the position, because these knights are contending for the d5 square, and this bishop cannot control that square. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is imprecise, and it allows black to pretty much equalize. I mean, it's still definitely a game, but it allows me to equalize now. I have the option between knight takes and queen takes. Queen takes develops the queen off the back rank and prepares to connect the rooks after I castle and develop the bishop. However, knight takes, knight takes just adds a little bit more control over the d5 square for an eventual d5 push, getting rid of my backwards d6 pawn. However, after knight takes bishop g5, I know both captures are okay. Knight takes bishop g5, maybe knight g6 there and h6. I'll to the knight this time. So bishop g5 I'm expecting, then knight g6 followed by h6 when you can't drop the bishop back to h4. And let's see what he wants. So I am on the e4 square. Actually, no, bishop g5 I can just take on e4. What am I saying? So he defends this first. And now I wonder whether I should be playing h6 preemptively. Probably not. Probably I can wait for the bishop to come out and then deploy my knight. So in light of that, maybe I should just castle. However, castle's knight c4. He is on the d6 pawn. d5. Knight takes e5. Pawn takes e4. We exchange queens. That should be fine. So castle's knight c4. d5 takes knight takes e4. Rook e8. I'm going to castle. Although I'm not sure. Honestly, I can probably just give the d6 pawn if he wants it. Like something like knight c4, bishop e6. I know there's a line that goes like that, but I think the knight remains on c6, so I have knight b4 jumps. So maybe knight c4. Okay, we'll go knight g6. I think his idea is to double up on the d file and play against my backwards pawn, which I can't conveniently defend. Although he's not threatening to take it immediately because of the e4 pawn. So now, I don't think I'm all that concerned about giving this pawn. So h6 takes. Let's say knight takes d6. I can pin him. So h6 takes, queen takes. Maybe we exchange queens. Rook d8 takes on c8. And then in return for the pawn, I have better development. But is it enough? What about d5 takes d5, e4. Oh no, I can't play rook e8 there because my knight's gone. Let me calculate a second here. I can play b5. We give a check. So this is a little bit tricky. Yeah. think maybe my last move was a little bit imprecise. This pin remain is fairly annoying, actually. I wonder if knight f4 is an option. No, that's, well, does open the e file. That's probably not great. Okay. Problem is, after he takes on d6 with the knight, he does cover e4. So maybe I should just be keeping it simple and giving this pawn, but then we get this endgame where I can't be any better, or really have any realistic winning chances. Should I just play d5 and give this? Yeah, this is probably dubious, but I want to. I'm willing to invest this pawn just to keep the queens on the board and maybe open up the center before he can castle long. So takes. If he takes with a queen, I have at least rook d8 there with tempo and initiative, or bishop e6. Takes, pawn takes. I was thinking e4 there, or maybe just bishop f5, and just playing for the initiative. So if he takes here directly, maybe e4 there. So takes e4, bishop takes f6. I take on d3, takes d8, takes. That's not great, is it? So what about takes b5, and then maybe I can throw in a check. It's interesting. Takes b5, let's say knight e3. And then check, and if we exchange queens, oh no, because then it's knight from e3 defends his d5 pawn. Okay, so he takes here, which I was least concerned about. I thought maybe taking e takes d5 was correct there, but we can take a look after the game. So now if pawn takes, I have options between bishop f5 or maybe knight f4, maybe rook d8, maybe e4 sacking a second pawn. I don't think he wants to just maintain the tension. I think he should capture with something. But if he just like castles, for example, I can either take on e4 or close things with d4. I think castles will probably take on e4, bishop f5. If he takes on b7, I'm fine with that, opening up the b file. Maybe I insert this first. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Castles, knight f4, queen moves, takes, then bishop f5, and all my pieces are flooding in. Yeah, castles long here would be pretty dangerous for him, I feel. Queen takes. Okay, so now this is tricky. I have a lot of good moves with tempo just to bring my pieces into the game, into the center of the board with tempo. 3 options, in fact. Rook d8, knight f4, bishop e6. Which one of these is best? It's hard to say. Maybe I should be remaining flexible with my rooks. Bishop e6, maybe rook d8, because then that severs off his ability to castle long. I can always play that next move. Maybe I should just be putting the question to the queen first and then deliberating where I go with this bishop. It's hard to say. So I'm going to play rook d8 because I think this rook belongs on d8 and this rook belongs on c8. And now, looking for something kind of aggressive. I don't think I'm threatening anything. Maybe, so if b5, knight b6, does he want? I don't think I'm concerned about that. b5. Maybe I should be playing bishop e6 first. Well, perhaps not. But I kind of do want to keep this bishop on the board. Okay, I gotta speed up, so I'll play bishop e6. And maybe rook c8 next. Oh, so he's spending a lot of time with this knight. Knight f4, g6, maybe just rook comes into the center. Yeah, let's play this. I'm not sure. I don't think he wants to play knight d5 here. So he is falling pretty far behind in development. So I'm not sure how to take advantage of that. I think I should just play some natural moves here, like knight f4, and then try to get my queen a little bit more actively posted. Remains interesting. I think I have sufficient compensation for the pawn. And he spent a lot of time with his queen and with his knight without ever developing his kingside. Maybe, maybe bishop e2, rook d4, hitting the e pawn. So maybe bishop d3 here. I don't think sacks do anything. Bishop e3, knight f4. Okay, so it's not super convenient for him to develop this bishop to an active post. Maybe bishop c4. Actually, bishop c4 is just covered. Yeah, so either of these moves have their drawbacks. So maybe he wants bishop e3, c4. Wow. Okay, well, this sieges this square forever. And now my knight is just beautifully posted. So g3, I wonder if I should be giving it for the light squares. I think I probably should. If he's willing to weaken his light squares, then I can just invest the knight, and I think my bishop should prevail over this knight, although he does have this nice outpost here. So now, what do I take with? Big question. Big question. I wonder if I should be taking it at all. Definitely need to make a decision. I have no time. That pawn takes. Okay. 8 seconds. Just open things up. But that's kind of miserable. Oh man. I guess I'll take here. And I'm not sure about this move. I'm really not sure about that. But just trying to target his weaknesses. So if takes, bishop takes, and both these pawns hang. Knight here. Let's go here. Yeah, there I wasn't willing to trade the knight for the bishop because this pawn will just drop. And if he attacks this pawn, I can play f5. So it takes. I wonder if I should be. Oh, I think I should take that back. And now this. Maybe I play knight e5 there. Or no, I can just take that. What am I saying? So bishop takes. Now, which of these pawns do I take? Let's take this one. He's going to play c4. Okay, let's make a move. Now, what's the situation? Maybe I'm worse here. I have the kingside majority, but he has 2 outside passed pawns. This knight's going to be very strong, but I'm not sure it's enough. I'm not sure I can get away with even taking here because I'm going to have problems on this, on the back rank. Do I check? I think I need love, so I'm going to start with this, and then I can consider like rook here and knight e3 stuff. Let's go here. Let's go ahead and get my rook on the second. And I need counterplay very quickly. Now, I can give a check. I'm really not sure if I should be doing that. Let's start by trying to keep the rooks on. And see if he just wants to chase me around. I really wish I could get my knight in somewhere. Let's see if I can build up a little bit of time here. Maybe I can trick him with this and knight f3 stuff, but this falls into c5, which I really don't want to allow. Okay, now I can take here, or I can shoot. Really not sure, but I have to make a move. because now the bishop does hang. Thankfully, I made luck for myself, and I think I should be back in time to. Ooh, maybe I should just go active. Here, here, here. Tricky. Maybe I just have to go for the draw. Yeah, I'll go for the draw. And if he goes here, actually, maybe I have this. Yeah. Although that's not clear at all, is it? I think I have to go back here. Yeah, I think I have to retreat and blockade this pawn now. Okay. So rook. Oh no. Okay. Maybe I should be playing it safe and giving that pawn while I still have time before he gets to the b file. Okay, so it's a draw. I'll allow for a draw. See if he wants to play it out. Yeah, it seems to me like the entire game he was happy with the draw. And look, look at that, a negative 31 point hit. Yikes. Okay, so before pulling up the engine, yeah, I just left myself way too short on time. After queen e3, I saw knight c4 coming, but maybe I should have been better prepared against that. So here castles allows this whole sequence. So instead of castles, maybe I should be starting with b5. Although then c4, b5 or b4, and knight drops back. Now that seems like I'm wasting too much tempo on the queen side and just making weaknesses for myself. I felt like he played this fairly imprecisely, and he also spent a lot of time with his minor pieces before ever getting castled. But I wasn't able to take advantage of that sufficiently, given the time situation. Maybe this is okay, and I just give the d pawn. Maybe something bishop e6, maybe h6 takes. Really not sure. Okay, so that's the moment I really want to hone in on. Start the opening here. So this is normal, knight b5. Play the king line with bishop b7. I think the main line is b5 here. Yeah, it's played quite a bit more often. I like bishop b7 here. Just getting on with the kingside development. I can always play b5 later under different circumstances. Oh wow, wow. So I must have missed something massive in this endgame, but I also missed something massive in the middle game. So at move 19, let's see how much time I had. Oh, this is okay. This is in the time scramble one. I had 7 seconds. So until that point, I think I pretty comprehensively outplayed him. But then, yeah, as is my wont, I got low on time, and my play falls off precipitously in the time scramble. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look. So d6, bishop b7, and he takes on e7. Now I think, yeah, he should be taking on f6 and just playing for control over the d5 square. That's the whole point of me playing the Kalashnikov, is I'm getting some central space, just basically staking my claim in the center at the cost of weakening both the d5 square, so that'll be a perennial outpost for his pieces, and making my d6 pawn backwards. Yeah, because this bishop is actually it's pretty bad bishop. It's not actually doing anything useful, and oftentimes I just want to trade that off on g5 anyway. Because right now it's just stymied behind my my dark square pawn structure in the center here. But he takes it, and I'll be curious. I know both are fine. Yeah, the engine goes back and forth between queen takes and knight takes, but normally I play queen takes, but I thought I'd experiment a little bit with knight takes and play for an early d5 push. Okay, so after knight takes and queen d3, defending this pawn, d5 immediately before he has a chance to get his bishop involved. So maybe castles was just a little bit lackadaisical. Yeah, maybe just a little bit lazy. So d5 before he has a chance to pin me up with his bishop and bring his knight into c4. Yeah, I shouldn't be worried about any checks on this diagonal. I'm always a little bit hesitant with my opening up the center with my king. still in the center. Like here, like I'm sufficiently deployed. I have better development than white, as a matter of fact, and a better preponderance of pieces and control in the center. So I shouldn't be worried about my king still being in the center while his king is also still in the center. Yeah, so logically it makes sense to break immediately here. D5, let's say, takes, knight from F6 takes. That would not be natural to me. I'd probably be more inclined to take with the E7 knight or the queen. If I take with this knight, C4, and then he gets queen exchange on favorable terms for him. Okay, and if this, and he still plays C4, what's the difference? Oh, interesting. So now I have bishop F5, given the fact that the knight from E7 still controls the square, and I can get out of the queen exchange, maybe. Ah, no, okay, so this is the whole thing. I can play bishop F5, opening up my rook on D8, and if he still wants to exchange queens, now my rook can be captured, and I still retain my castling rights. Okay, it's a little bit sophisticated in terms of which minor piece to take with here. The queen exchange should be fine too. Yeah, it's just a game from here. So I have slightly better development and slightly better central control with my pawn on E5, but he does have the two bishops and he remains very solid. He doesn't have any weaknesses. Yeah, and probably the two bishops outweigh the very minor lead in development I have presently because we're heading into an endgame. But it remains, I mean, black remains solid there as well. It remains a game. So castles and bishop g5, and now it's a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. d5 again before the knight comes into c4, a very important point. Yeah, I was a little bit lazy with my move order here. I thought I was going to have time to play knight g6, h6, and then later arrange d5, but I'm just not in time. He gets his pieces into play, and now, yeah, so the engine probably just wants to give this d6 pawn, bishop e6, let's say knight takes, and then just play for development. Something like queen b6, rook d8. I didn't really want to allow him taking on f6, but the engine points out I have this intermezzo. Okay, so that's an important point. If I can get out of this pen with tempo and he has to respond to this king b2 pawn, then I should be fine. Then I'm happy to give this pawn. I just don't want to give this the d6 pawn and allow him to cripple my pawn structure on the king side, because this will be a pretty nasty outpost after he takes on f6 and if I'm forced to recapture with the pawn. Okay, so queen b6 there would get me out of the pen with tempo. But d5 I thought was a creative solution to the problem. Getting to invest this pawn on my terms. I thought pawn takes. I was wondering about maybe bishop f5 here. e4. I thought e4 initially when I was calculating, but the rook cannot move to e8 given the fact that my knight on f6 has been captured. So knight f5. I just have really nice active outposts for my pieces, and the knight comes to f4. The bishop on f5. Yeah, I mean this remains. He does have a pass pawn on d5, but it's for now it's under control. But queen takes. I thought this was, yeah, like he's just spending all this time moving his queen around a ton with his king still on e1 and his bishop still on f1, whereas I'm getting all my pieces into the game very quickly. And another 93 was a little bit surprising to me, but I think he was worried about something like rook c8 and targeting the c2 pawn. I thought he was just going to develop his bishop. Takes, knight h4. What's the idea here? Queen g6 and targeting both these 2 points. All right, this is a curious line. Queen g5, and what, I swing my rook in? Yeah, I swing my rook in. Look at this. Don't allow this check. Important point. But the rook is trying to basically come over to the g file and deliver mate. Looks like there's not much you can do about that, besides give his queen. Oh, what about takes, and I have to give my queen. So what I missed there? I have time just to move the king out of the way. Okay, that's the point. That's nasty. Yeah, c4 again felt weird to me, just giving this square for free. Normally, I think it makes more sense to arrange the pawn on c3, controlling the square, and it complements his light square bishop better. Yeah, this felt wrong to me. This is, I mean, in some cases it can also become a weakness, like I can play b5 takes and target it. Yeah, but how much time? I had 14 seconds here, and he still had roughly a minute. Yeah, so I had to start playing quick moves here. Takes, and I thought these pawns would be weak. Play e4 quickly, and he offers a queen exchange. And again, I really need more time here to prosecute my advantage. I mean, it should be a winning advantage, honestly. He's made too many concessions, too many sloppy moves in the opening, but I just had no time to punish it. Yeah, with more time on the clock here, which I had invested earlier getting this position, I think I would have put him away pretty summarily, but such is the nature of rapid chess. Yeah, b5 immediately. Don't allow this queen exchange. But even here, I should be fine with b5 and just prying open like all his weaknesses. This looks like a Nimzo structure. b5. I mean, I was reasonably happy with this. Didn't want to allow him to take this because I thought my knight was pretty strong, just hopping around on these dark squares. I thought this pawn might drop too, but again, I just had no time to evaluate. So I thought, excuse me, I thought it made a little bit more sense to keep the knight on. And then, so this was a bit sloppy, and now he's just winning with his outside pass pawn. Looks like I can't drum up enough kingside play to in return for his pass pawn. Yeah, so this was just a terrible transformation for me. This whole sequence. Yeah, starting with e4 here, which I played with 7 seconds. Excuse me. Yeah, because of course it makes more sense to keep the queens on the board when he's spent a lot of time not moving his king out of the center, and all my pieces are active. All my pieces are active, and none of his are. Look at this. Both my rooks are in play. My queen can become fairly active very quickly, and my knight is beautifully positioned, whereas his king, and additionally, my king is castled. His king is uncastled, his bishop is undeveloped, both his rooks are disconnected, and he spent a ton of tempo moving the queen around. So just on those logical grounds, it should be an overwhelming advantage for black, and it is. I just did not have time to demonstrate it. Yeah, that was my own fault. Okay, but he allows me to simplify in this endgame. I think in conjunction, like this rook on the second in conjunction with his knight, looking at these tender squares over here, either from g4, looking at f2, or in some cases f3. Yeah, just giving the check to the king and dominating the king side. It should be enough counterplay. Yeah, I thought maybe he could pin me up here. Wait, takes, check. Ah, so he guards his back rank before I can retreat and get a rook there. So let's take a look. And okay, so if I now try to deliver this perpetual, no, maybe it's not perpetual because maybe his king runs to d1. He promotes, and if I just give endless checks, his king can run to the d file where it's defended. Let's say, yeah, and I've got nothing. So his king can run to the open board and finally connect with his rook. Yeah, I just need to leave myself more time to calculate and evaluate these positions, starting from a few moves back, which we just discussed. Yeah, so I gave him some chances to even win this, which is really sloppy, really, really sloppy after that opening. But in any case, yeah, he seemed the entire time just more than happy to make a draw. Okay. All right, well, let's see if I can bounce back next game. Thanks for the game, Clement94.